Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about Vecna Eve of Ruin, and I want to talk about how Vecna Eve of Ruin is very carefully doing some important work on Dungeons and Dragons settings. So they're doing a great job. Todd Kerrick is talking to Amanda Heyman, Mackenzie DeArmas, and Christopher Perkins, and I think increasingly those are the designers that matter. F. Wesley Snyder, very talented, did some good work, right? Kyle Brink did some solid stuff, but the real, like, the pistons of the engine are Mackenzie DeArmas, Christopher Perkins, and Amanda Heyman, right? And increasingly they're kind of spiking up, right? Actually, Christopher Perkins has never spiked down. He's always been incredibly, like, on point as far as being important in the creating Dungeons and Dragons lore. So with Vecna Eve of Ruin, they've been doing this fantastic playlist. And what was really interesting in this playlist was they're like, hey, everybody, we want you to pay attention. There's something special happening here. And what is that special thing? That special thing is Vecna Eve of Ruin is going to be an incredible tour of all of the Dungeons and Dragons realms that matter, right? So Dungeons and Dragons realms are a big deal, okay? Perfect example, Oriel and Adventures. Okay, first era, second era setting, third era setting. Okay, I don't think it wasn't touched in fourth era, and it was not touched in fifth era. And right now in fifth era, close to the Infinite era, we're about to go into the Infinite era. As soon as we get the new 2024 core rulebooks, we'll be in the Infinite era. And what's really fascinating is you have this, Oriental Adventures is never coming back, ever. It's done, right? Dark Sun. We got it in 4th edition, right? We got it in 4th era, excuse me. But I'm still trying to get rid of these dead names. They're in my head. I think it's hard, right? And also, if you are in this position where somebody uses dead names, it may be because they're doing it because they're cruel, but it may be that they need time to shift into the new era of language. It can be difficult, right? So I just dead named a Dungeons and Dragons era, right? 4th era. And it's hard. I shouldn't do it, right? It's bad, right? But just realize if somebody's using your dead name, it's not always because they're trying to be cruel. Sometimes it is, right? But sometimes it's just they need time to get ready. Like this new Infinite era is going to be very challenging, right? Like I think a lot of people are already pushing back. They're like, I don't have any space in my head for when the Edition Wars are over. So can we preserve the Edition Wars? And we're like, no. It's one D&D. They said it, right? It's where we are now. We're not talking about Edition Wars anymore. We're working to get the Edition Wars over. Vecna Eve of Ruin comes forward, right? And here's what's really fascinating. It sets into place Vecna Eve of Ruin. And it says Ravenloft, Eberron, Forgotten Realms. Where else does it go? Spelljammer, Planescape. That's it. Those are the settings that matter, right? And get this. I think going forward, they're going to try to shift to make people understand these. And the reason why is they want a famous dragon. They want a famous wizard. They want a famous fighter. And right now, there's the Dungeons and Dragons lore and realms is so scattered that you don't have this. You don't have one cohesive view, and we need to get there. We need to get there, right? So those are the settings that matter. They're very important, right? And in addition to that, each one of them are going to need a core villain, right? Ravenloft, you know who the villain is, Strahd. Oh, Dragonlance. Sorry, Dragonlance too. Dragonlance, right? Lord Soth. He's in there too. Who's the big bad in Dragonlance? Lord Soth. Who's the big bad in Ravenloft? Lord Strahd. Actually Strahd, Vampire Strahd, right? And then who's the big bad in Forgotten Realms? Is it Asarak? Is he the top? It's a little sketchy, right? It doesn't come right off the tongue. on who the big bad in Forgotten Realms is. Who's the big bad in Spelljammer? Who's the big bad in Planeswalk in Planescape? It's not the Lady of Pain. She's not clearly a villain, right? And so this is coming in, and they want a very defined group of settings that still matter, right? That are preeminent, and that you know the big bad in. That's where we're heading. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.